Yo, what's good, everyone? It's your boy Deke, just chilling here in my back patio, poolside. Was drinking some White Claws, enjoying this beautiful Sunday afternoon. Was thinking, why not chop it up about some sports out here? And the topic I wanted to talk about in particular was the NBA playoffs and Zion and the Pelicans making it in as the 8th seed. Now, I don't think it's too much of a secret. NBA reporters have talked about it that the NBA wants a Zion versus LeBron round one matchup. People have been comparing it to what Jordan and Bird did back in 1986 when it was Jordan's second year. He dropped 63 points. Like, they want something where you can look back 20, 30 years and say, wow, this was an epic performance. This was history being made. In this case, it would be LeBron. His team's better. He has more experience. He's the guy right now. They end up winning, but you could tell, just as the case was with Bird and Jordan, that with Jordan and Zion, that these guys are the next face of the league and they're going to be taking over. And this is just kind of like the start of that. This is almost history in the making. I mean, who wouldn't want this to happen? It would be captivating. The question is it going to happen, though? Because unfortunately, right now, the Pelicans are 3.5 games back to the Grizzlies in the playoffs. They're tied with the Blazers, who are 29-37. The Pelicans are 28-36. Blazers have just played more games. And don't forget about the Kings and the Spurs. I'm not going to talk about the Spurs in this just because I'm sick of them. They've been around the NBA and had too much dominance over the past, 20 years. So they could go away. I'm kind of sick of talking about them. So I'll talk about the Pelicans, the Blazers, the Grizzlies, and the Kings. Pelicans, in my opinion, they have the easiest schedule of the bunch. They have Wizards. Actually, I take that back. I'd say Pelicans and Kings are both in the mix for the easiest schedule. But Pelicans play Wizards. They play the Kings twice, Magic, Grizzlies, and then the last three teams you have the Jazz, Spurs, and Clippers. And yeah, I know what you're thinking initially with the Clippers. It's what I thought initially as well. Clippers are going to have that game. It's going to be a gimme win for them. But the Clippers and a lot of these other elite teams, they're probably going to be treating this 8-game stretch as preseason. There's really no home court advantage in these playoffs at all. So there's no definitive reason to have some great seeding. On the other hand, I think it could be just one big clusterfuck because at the same time, the Clippers could be resting starters. And we've seen it so many times in the NFL. You have like the number 1 or number 2 seed team rest their players in week 17, and they still end up beating the other team that could be jockeying for a playoff spot. I just saw it last year with my beloved Steelers against the Ravens. They sat a good portion of their starters, and they still ended up beating us in week 17 as we were going for the playoffs. So I think clusterfuck is a good word. We really don't know what's going to happen with some of these games. And even though there's going to be elite teams on the schedule, it could just be up in the air. Then you have the Blazers. They play the Nets. That's probably a gimme win. Outside of that, you could look at their schedule. All their other squads are going to be tough. I will say they're going to be healthy, though. They're losing Trevor Ariza. They get Zach Collins, Yusef Nurkic back. That could be interesting. The Grizzlies, they played the Blazers right off the bat. Spurs, Pelicans, all the other squads are kind of in the playoffs. But like I mentioned with the Clippers and just any of the other elite teams, who knows what's going to happen. I think each team's going to have their own regimen and plan for how they play out these 8 games. And then you have the Kings. I would say arguably tied with the Pelicans, like I said, for the easiest schedule. They have the Lakers in the last game. And even though everything I just said about we have no clue what's going to be happening, that's the Lakers' last game. They're not going to be playing players. So the Kings should win that. And then only other higher-end team on their schedule is the Rockets. So the rest of their schedule is going to be some of these other teams jockeying for position or just a lesser team in general. So when you look at those 4 teams, the Grizzlies have 3.5 games up on any of the other squads at least. The cool thing about what the NBA is doing, though, is they are letting the 9 seed get a shot still against the 8 seed if they're less than 4 games back. So if it played out right now, the Blazers are actually the 9 seed and the Grizzlies are the 8 seed. But the Blazers are 3.5 games back, just like the Pelicans. So they are within that 4-game window. They would play the Grizzlies in a double elimination series, but it's only double elimination for the 8 seed. The Blazers would have to beat them twice, and the Grizzlies would only have to beat the Blazers once to advance to the playoffs. So do I think the Pelicans could at least get that 9 seed and get a chance to be playing the 8 seed, or maybe even be the 8 seed in general and make these playoffs? I do, just because I think they have the best roster. I was trying to look up stats and trends and all this different, like the last 10 games, or like what these teams' records are going from January. I just don't know how much we can base anything off that. So I'm just going to go with the better roster. I think Pelicans have the best roster, and if you wanted to go off trends, Pelicans are 5-5 in their last however many games. Kings are 7-3. Grizzlies are 4-6, and then Blazers. Let me look right here. Blazers are 4-6 and well. So it's kind of all the same. If anything, the Kings got the upper hand. They're 7-3. But are we really thinking that the Kings, they have some type of crazy advantage over these other squads because they've been 7-3 in their last 10 games? No. So I'm going to go off the best roster. I think it's close between the Pelicans and the Trailblazers. You could make an argument for the Trailblazers. They have Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum. They have that experience in the playoffs. Hell, even throw Melo in there. He's been playing good with them. But I love the Pelicans roster. I like that just wow factor with Zion, Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball. You got the veteran and Drew Holiday too, J.J. Redick, Derek Favors, Jackson Hayes. I like this squad. So I'm going to go with the Pelicans. I think I'm biased maybe just because I want it. I'm a fan of Zion. I think he's going to be the next face of the NBA. So I'm rooting for it. I do think they have the best roster out of the bunch here and one of the easiest schedules between them and the Kings. So I'm going to give it to the Pelicans right here. I'm rooting for it. Like I said, it's going to be crazy interesting if all this stuff does play out. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think I'm off here with picking the Pelicans? Or just tell me what team you think out of those four. Hell, you could even throw the Spurs and the Suns in there if you think I'm completely disrespecting them. Which one of those teams are going to make it in the NBA as the 8 seed? But other than that, stay chilling. Peace.